Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning. So it's a Tuesday. I don't know what day, 14th, 15th or something. Um, so anyway, reading Thriving at Nature's Pace with my mom. We were just talking to Shini, who was here, about what it's about. This is about our relationship with nature and having one back. And it's using climate change as a trigger for nature calling us. It's time we actually go back and having a relationship with it rather than just using it. So we've been reading for a little while now, and today we're going to carry on the things about first things first, which is all about the economics has to be right. And we're going to talk from here about the problems of kind of carbon capture and the energy it uses, in particular, who really decides on that. So let's start. The economic contradiction is laid out right from the start. The carbon capture business can only continue if greenhouse gas emissions continue. So it presumes that the use of oil, gas, and coal is inevitable. Even though the idea of carbon capture seems good, the economics is wrong, and it can only lead to more oil, gas, and coal production. The details of how this continued production is paid for are of secondary importance. What matters is to recognize that the economics can seem right at each step, and the whole picture can still be very wrong. There was a hope that the digital economy could dampen this continued demand for energy. The thinking was that the digital economy does not need as much material and industrial resources. In the developed world, the total energy demand has dropped. However, this has been through the outsourcing of heavy industries to developing countries. The digital economy is increasing developed countries' energy needs. Shall I answer it?
No, it's the scam.
Okay, there's a lot of scam calls. We're getting some scam calls at the moment.
We are not available now.
So we're
Please
just
leave
going to
your
ignore
name.
that. So the digital economy is increasing developed countries' energy needs. Technology today has an insatiable appetite for energy. Everyone has a smartphone with a rapid cloud connection. They store vast quantities of digital images with instant access of streams of videos. The amount of data transmitted, processed, and stored has exploded. And with it, the amount of energy needed to process all this has also exploded. Even if the digital economy is powered by renewable energy, it still means more oil, gas, and coal will be used. When the digital economy uses renewable energy, that energy is no longer available for other businesses. Again, those older brick-and-mortar businesses will still need to continue, and so they will resort to using oil, gas, and coal. Furthermore, digital businesses can grow faster than renewable energy can be installed. That pushes the energy demand back to relying on oil, gas, and coal. Moreover, people have physical desires. As the digital economy grows, the demand for physical goods will also grow. The whole picture is therefore that more oil, gas, and coal will be used. So that's basically to say the more we do, it doesn't matter whether we do it on our phone or whether we do it by walking up to a shop or somewhere else, we're always going to be using more energy. Because even when we're doing it on our phone, we're going to be using it to buy things. And that thing's going to be shipped to us. And all of those things is going to continue in that way. And because it's on our phone, it takes even less time for us to go along and order all this stuff. So packages come flying constantly across. So back to the story. Computers and data servers used to be passive in how they used energy. That is, humans decided what they want to do and the machine delivered it. The amount of energy used was decided by people. People were the intelligent agents. They turned the computers off when the tasks were done. They decided how much data to move around. They had control of how much to store. And I still remember the time when we would turn our computers off at the end of the day and actually kind of save the energy so that we don't need to. Hi, people. We're well. How are you all? Some people are joining us, so just want to say hi to that. You want to say hi, Mom?
Well, how are you?
So this is no longer the case. The digital world now has intelligence. It has its own demand for energy it needs. It's like a child growing up. As a young child, the parents decided when to turn off the lights for bed. As a teenager, the parents are no longer in charge. That's basically what's happening at the moment. An example of this comes from the author's experience in using computers for financial trading. So this is what I did for a long time. Major investment banks, brokerages, and investment funds all developed sophisticated algorithms to get an edge over their competitors. These tools are no longer simple algorithms that run for a fixed time. Instead, terabytes of data of what is happening and has been happening in the world are processed. These processes can take any amount of time. It's just like human thought. Sometimes the picture of what is going on in the world is immediately clear. At other times, it can take forever to identify what is happening. The amount of energy needed is therefore determined by the processes themselves. So what that means is because you don't know how long they're going to run for, you can't turn them off. So they keep running, and then the more you give it for it to do, the more it thinks, and the more energy it's going to need. Today, these approaches are ubiquitous. They go under the audacious name of artificial intelligence, or AI. AI expresses the reality that these processes have a mind of sorts of their own. They are deployed everywhere without users being aware. ChatGPT and associated AI developments have turned the analysis of unimaginable amounts of data into a daily exercise to support every imaginable inquiry that anyone can make. When someone types in, "How do you fix climate change?" the results are an AI's interpretation of how to do that. So the question's already been kind of processed and is gathered into everyone else's thoughts and comes up with it. Machines have now been let off their leashes. They are mimicking modern humans' insatiable appetites for energy. The world now has humans and AIs using more and more energy. Undoubtedly, even as countries push to triple the amount of renewable energy, AI will join humans in sucking it all up and still demanding more. Policies like the US Inflation Reduction Act, the European Green Initiative, and the Chinese stimulus plans to provide more renewable energy are really rearguard actions. Unfortunately, they are just not displacing oil and gas and coal. So an example on the way here, I read about Google having an agreement with Total Energies in Malaysia, where they're going to provide a very large amount of renewable energy in order to run the Google data centers in Asia. But the thing is that renewable energy is going to be used to run the new data centers. So the existing things are going to have to keep using oil, gas, and coal. And all those data centers do is to make sure that the photos we've got in our phones can actually be accessed very quickly, basically. So that's the price of kind of that immediate instant touch on our phones, is that we can't get away from oil and gas and coal. It all comes down to the economics. The economics is all about making money. In an extractive economy, money is only made by using more resources, and that ultimately means more energy. That leads to an insatiable appetite for energy. Even when an activity is truly healing the planet, it will be scaled up to make as much money from it as possible. That will in turn drive more demand for energy. As long as this economic cycle remains, there will be more oil, gas, and coal used. Money is going to be made. If the world wants to put a lid on climate change, it must turn economics on its head. A new economics is needed that makes money from keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground. Literally, that is to point to a map of oil, gas, and coal that are still in the ground and say, "Pay me not to dig that out." However, saying "pay me not to dig all that out" is really not going to fly. It has many problems. For a start, it sounds too much like a threat. It is holding the world to ransom, and nobody likes to be held to ransom. But the problems are really deeper. The reason it sounds like holding the world someone to ransom is because modern economic thinking fundamentally believes resources should be exploited. It gives nature no value unless it is used. And that using resources to make money is thus a good thing, and making money by not using them is seen wrongly as bad. So this is the difference that we were talking earlier with Chini, who looks after my mum and was here, and we'll get her maybe to join us another day. about having a relationship with nature. And she was talking about people used to, actually talk to nature, like having relationship that we would talk to each other. And today what happens is that we just use it. And when we only use it, it's like people, you can't have a relationship with people if you only use people. You kind of have to give first in that way. And that's this part about giving back first to nature, which is kind of the key part of this. We'll come to that next time. Mum? Did you enjoy that?
I don't understand.
You can't understand. It's too much to understand.
Yeah.
Well, have a think, and if you actually, and maybe tomorrow we can have a start with a chat. How about that? Yeah. So let's do that. So thank you everybody who's joined us or who was with us, reading "Thriving at Nature's
Thank
Pace"
you.
with my mum. Get a copy online, and hope you join us again the next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.